Test, test, test. Thank you.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la, la la la
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to congregants, to friends, to guests, to those joining us in the sanctuary, and to all those joining us online as we come together to celebrate and welcome Shabbat. It's wonderful, as always, to have our congregational president, Hank Bernstein, joining us here. We also have our interpreter, Josh Steckel, here tonight as well. Good to see you, as always, Josh. Let's ensure that we are praying together as one community tonight. Please take a moment to find someone new to greet and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Tomorrow morning at our Shabbat morning service, we are so excited that we will have 11 adults become B'nai Mitzvah. These are amazing, amazing congregants who have been studying for the past year together, learning not just about the Shabbat service and reading from Torah, but really learning about Judaism, learning about God and prayer and Torah, and it's just been the most incredible experience for me. I hope for all of you as well, and so I'm honored to welcome up our adult B'nai Mitzvah students, a couple that are not here tonight, but will be here tomorrow that I know are watching online, but I'll mention them all. Tom Ballingal, Gail Cummings, Alexandra Fisher, Bernice Copeland, Erica Maxwell, Karen Mendelson, Eve Miller, August Nopolis, Beth Stanley, Noah Strauss, and Clay Wade. We are just so inspired by all of you and your dedication to lifelong learning and how you lift up our entire congregation. So thank you for leading us tonight, but also really inspiring us all with your love of Jewish learning. We continue as our adult B'nai Mitzvah will lead us in our Shabbat blessings, beginning first with the candle lighting on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And the Shabbat Kiddush is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה ומרצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Mazel tov. We are so excited to celebrate with you tomorrow. There are Jews all over the world celebrating Shabbat right now, or maybe a few hours this way or that way, depending on time differences, across America, in Israel, in Ukraine, in Russia. And perhaps the most interesting this week are the Jews of Abu Dhabi, who are celebrating Shabbat in the newly opened Abrahamic family house. Some of you might have heard about this or seen it on the news. The Abrahamic family house is a complex with a synagogue, church, and mosque created to foster understanding, dialogue, and respect. I could never have imagined a new synagogue opening in my lifetime in a Muslim Arab country, let alone opening alongside a church and a mosque. Shabbat is considered a taste of the world to come, a glimpse of that messianic age, the world the way it should be. This Shabbat, seeing pictures of Muslim, Jews, and Christians in Abu Dhabi united in a common goal of understanding and dialogue, gives me hope that we are on our way to that messianic age as we build it together. And so we take a deep breath and release, turning from the stresses of the week to the hope that Shabbat brings. We continue singing Hariu Ladonai, page 15, bottom 2 lines.
Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz, Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz. Pitzchu v'ranenu v'zameru, Pitzchu v'ranenu v'zameru. Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz, Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz. Pitzchu v'ranenu v'zameru, Pitzchu v'ranenu v'zameru. Adonai leolam chasto, ki tov Adonai leolam chasto, ki tov Adonai leolam chasto, ki tov Adonai leolam chasto. Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz, Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz. V'ranenu v'zameru, Pitzchu v'ranenu v'zameru. Ki tov Adonai leolam chasto, ki tov Adonai leolam chasto, ki tov Adonai leolam chasto, ki tov Adonai leolam chasto. Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz, Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz, kol haaretz, kol haaretz.
With the joy of a wedding, we continue with Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה ראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה
Please rise.
בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה
Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent at all time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence of the divine. Continue on page 28 with our call to worship. Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 la lai lai la lai 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 la lai lai la lai 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 Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed
The top of page 31, we read together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim.
Page 32.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadata. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו למדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו למדת. When we lie down and when we rise up, this joy will last forever. When we lie down and when we rise up, this joy will last forever, forever. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen.
The top of page 39, read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלים Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh. Dora tehilot Osefele Dora tehilot Osefele. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Moses and the children crossed the sea to sing to you these songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, bi kamocha nedar bakodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, bi kamocha nedar bakodesh.
More than the Jewish people have kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. Page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. We continue with tefillah on pages 46 and following. Please rise.
Adonai, sefatai titach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Miriam Jano is currently an Israeli rabbinical student at HUC, Hebrew Union College in Jerusalem, and she is originally from Kharkiv, Ukraine. She made Aliyah a number of years ago under the Law of Return grandfather clause, which allows the grandchild of a Jew to emigrate to Israel. However, as many of us may have heard in the news, this is a law which is now in danger of being revoked. She wrote a prayer for peace in Ukraine, which I'd like to share tonight. These are her words translated from Hebrew. At this moment, in this prayer, remembering the sons and daughters of the Ukrainian nation who are now under threat to their lives, we remember the refugees, parents, children of a couple who leave behind their heart's choice on the way to save their souls, and those who go out to fight and defend their family and people. May God have mercy on you and bring you out of trouble to peace, from darkness to light, from war to live in peace. Let it be your will, O Adonai, that you pray and learn on this day. They will stand as a sign of the approach of peace, for the treatment of the wounded, for the ascension of the soul of the dead, and for the comfort of the mourners. Adonai, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my prayers. Amen. We take moments now for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
In a moment, we'll be on page 253 for the Misha Beirach, our prayer for healing. The words of Rabbi Harold Kushner from his book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. We can't pray that God will make our lives free of problems. This won't happen, and it's probably just as well. We can't ask God to make us and those we love immune to disease, because God can't do that. We can't ask God to weave a magical spell around us so that bad things will only happen to other people and never to us. People who pray for miracles usually don't get miracles. But people who pray for courage, for strength to bear the unbearable, for the grace to remember what they have left instead of what they have lost, very often find their prayers answered. If you are holding someone in your heart tonight in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit, I invite you to write their names in the comments or to speak their names aloud at this time.
שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
We turn our thoughts to prayers for gratitude. And so, as you reflect on the past week, on the past day, on this Shabbat, consider what special occasions, what simchas may be worthy of gratitude as we prepare for our blessing of gratitude. Does anyone have something you'd like to call out? Is that Fred? Mazel tov on the 9 and the 30, right. When we don't in this country get civil rights right, it means multiple anniversaries sometimes when it takes us too long. Yes, others. All the B'nai Mitzvah students. Oh, is that Jeff? Ah, Mazel tov. Wonderful. Okay, good. So it's wonderful to celebrate with all of our B'nai Mitzvah students, including at least one who's usually an out-of-town member. And so it's wonderful to have you here in the flesh. And I'll say it's wonderful to look out into the congregation and see some alumni of our adult B'nai Mitzvah experiences over the years. And I would venture to say some future adult B'nai Mitzvah students, perhaps, as well. Regular old B'nai Mitzvah students as well in the future. Yes, absolutely. Good. Yes. I couldn't hear. Did you hear? Can you yell it even louder? Mazel tov on the new job. Wonderful. Yes. Mazel tov. Did I miss somebody?
Lance, did you have something? That is.
Oh, good. Yes.
See?
Yes, in more of a traditional age. We celebrate those too. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Well, for all of, yes, Hashi. Oh, Karen, yes. It sounds like a really festive night together at Gay Bingo and for a good cause as well. We're glad we get to host that. All right. For all of those blessings and more, and for this blessing of joining together this Shabbat, we turn to page 344 for the Shehachianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Shabbat Shalom. My lifespan is so far about the lifespan of Roe v. Wade. I was born in the 1970s, soon after the Supreme Court recognized abortion rights. Since Roe was overturned last year, I have studied, reflected, and drastically changed the way I understand abortion in Jewish thought. a foremost Talmud scholar at our seminary, Hebrew Union College, Rabbi Dr. Rachel Adler, insists that Jewish text is not the only source of Jewish law. Jewish law requires an understanding of stories. An uncritical read of the text suppresses the voice of the marginalized. So tonight I begin with stories from an organization called We Testify, dedicated to increasing the spectrum of abortion storytellers in the public sphere and shifting the way the media understands their context and complexity. We Testify elevates voices of abortion storytellers, particularly those of color, those from rural and conservative communities, those who are queer identified, those with varying abilities and citizenship statuses, and those who needed support when navigating barriers while accessing abortion care. In the words of Dr. Valerie Peterson of Texas, this story takes place before Texas banned abortion. My son was diagnosed with a fetal anomaly that was 100% incompatible with life. I lived in Texas, where the laws at the time prevented me from getting the abortion care that I needed at the time that I wanted it. There was a 3 to 4 week waiting list, as well as a 3 to 4 day process. The laws had such a profound impact on my emotional health that I ended up traveling to Florida, where I was able to get the abortion done within 48 hours of the diagnosis. In the words of Kazembe Jackson of Atlanta, I was a junior in college when I had my abortion. After surviving a rape that ended in pregnancy, my family was supportive of my decision because of the circumstances surrounding the pregnancy. I've committed to making sure all people can have a good experience having an abortion, regardless of their reason, and to lift up the voices of other Black trans men who have had abortions and want to give birth. In the words of Ashley Channel of Cleveland, it was an unplanned pregnancy with someone I didn't see myself with for a long-term relationship. The unplanned pregnancy gave me the opportunity to really think about the path I wanted my life to take and the life I want to give my future children. When it comes to these stories, I appreciate their truth and power. And I want to be careful to clarify, women and pregnant people do not earn their right to an abortion because their story inspires empathy. They have the right, if only our government would recognize they have the right, the agency to make choices for their own bodies, no matter their reason, no matter their story. Tonight, the National Council of Jewish Women, a partner of our Reform movement, identifies this Shabbat to honor reproductive rights, and congregations around the nation join us in marking it. Why this week? What they call Repro Shabbat falls tonight because of where we are in Jewish time. As our wonderful adult B'nai Mitzvah class knows well, this week's Torah portion is Parshat Mishpatim. It describes a legal case where a woman gets caught in a physical altercation between two men, and as a result, she loses her pregnancy. The text concludes, damages for the loss will be in an amount less than damages would be for the death of a full-status human being. The fetus does not have the status of a person. From this, Jewish law establishes life begins not at fertilization, but at birth. Later Jewish law affirms that life begins at birth multiple times. For instance, when the pregnancy threatens the life of the pregnant person, the Talmud privileges that pregnant person's life over the potential life of the fetus. Life begins at birth, and the woman or pregnant person's life takes precedence over the fetus. These standards of Jewish law are critical. You've heard me preach them and seen me publish them. And I am finally realizing when it comes to abortion advocacy, I think those texts miss the point, the ikar, the essence of what is important. The point is agency, the right to make decisions about our own bodies. When I based my pro-choice case too heavily on Jewish texts that establish when life begins, I allowed the anti-choice movement to frame the conversation. By crafting an argument around a response to another group's position, I diverted our attention from contemporary Jewish principles, from the main point of agency. The very language, life of the mother, is problematic, not only because it excludes transgender people, but also because by even calling the pregnant person a mother, the language again allows the anti-choice movement to define my terms. A woman or a pregnant person is a parent if and when that pregnant person says so. So how do we reframe the conversation? Rabbi Danya Rottenberg teaches, a normalization of abortion as health care more deeply honors our choices over our own bodies. So tonight, I am turning away from the Jewish texts on abortion that I've taught in the past to offer one Jewish principle. Abortion care is health care, and we have a right to agency, the decisions we make about our own bodies. Ancient texts and contemporary sources, including voices of people who can potentially become pregnant, offer Jewish wisdom that lifts up not tradition's permission for abortion care, but full agency over one's own body. I have found a profound commentary that now serves as my ikar, my core text for abortion care. Rabbi Becky Silverstein, influenced by his experience as a trans man, brings together traditional sources on health and offers this teaching. The Talmud asks, what happens if someone is ill and cannot fast on Yom Kippur? The Talmud answers its own question, Lev Yodea Marat Nafsho, the heart knows the bitterness of its soul. Who knows enough to make this health decision? The patient is actually the expert who should make this decision. The Talmudic text even says that nobody possesses more expertise on such a question than the sick person does. Later in the 11th century, our commentator Rashi teaches, The expertise of those who might contradict the individual is tantamount to nothing when compared to an individual's self-knowledge. In the 12th century, another commentator, Rabbeinu Tam, teaches Jewish tradition trusts an individual's knowledge of their own body, even when they are not in life-threatening danger. Self-knowledge. The heart knows the bitterness of its soul. These are the abortion care texts for our day. Called to the principle of agency from our tradition and from its teachers, and compelled by the stories of today's struggles of pregnant people, I offer this prayer, passages from the words of contemporary Rabbi Stephanie Crawley. A blessing for those who have had or aided an abortion. Mishaberach Imotenu, God of our mothers, bless these brave ones who stand before you. Be with them now, God of Rachel, who suffered and suffered for a child and then died while giving birth. Ensure that no one is forced into that same reality. Be with them now, God of Dinah. Do not abandon us when we have had our bodies stolen from us through violence and subjugation. Be with them now, God of Yocheved, mother of Moses. Help us all maintain the ability to bring children into the world only when we want to, only when we've decided that the world is right. Be with them now, God of Hannah, who thought she only had worth because of her womb. Teach us all to see our value in our wholeness. Be with them now. Bless their holy bodies and bless their decisions, the ones they fought to make possible, and the ones made in the embrace of freedom. May they always know agency and dignity and love. May this community never fail to rise in support and be with those who stand beside them in courage, who lend their voices and their funds, who drive to clinics and accompany them inside, who shout over protesters, who ensure care and safety. Help us create systems of justice that serve every person, that center the souls that belong to bodies that others seek to ban. Help us build a new, just world, a world birthed of freedom and care. Amen. We continue with Aleinu, meaning it is on us. Page 282 and then 287. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. These words from Chana Senesh. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes yahrzeit for the following people on whose shoulders we stand: Isidore Album, Celia S. Bachman, Dorothy Bass, Bruce Bayak, Fanya Shore-Bean, Helen Beildeck, Lee D. Blankensee, Herman Brandis, Harry Brooks, Alfred E. Brunswick, Simon R. Kaplan, Emmanuel Kaplan, Jacob L. Cohen, Bertha Marks Cohen, Albert Cohen, Harry L. Davidson, Clara Einstein, Ann G. Eisman, Samuel Joseph Ephraim, Harry Epstein, Rose Feinberg, David Finkelman, Roger Foreman, Lulu Rosenau Frankel, Saul Glazer, Jenny Nettie Glass, Elizabeth Bregard Goldston, Alvin Goodwin, Harry J. Goodwin, Abraham Haas, Ruth Haber, Margaret Berg Hahn, Frank E. Hahn Jr., Isaac Hassler, Paul Hirschfeld, Erwin M. Jacobs, Sally Jonas, Morris Kaplan, Ernest Kleinzeller, Hanny Tesler-Cohn, Hannah A. Cohn, Robert C. Kramer, Mildred Kunitz, Jacques Kunitz, Isabel G. Lane, Louis J. Leventhal, Helene Lefko, Celia S. Loaf, Caroline Levi, Samuel H. Levy, Jesse Kaplan Lieberman, Harry M. Loeb, Samuel M. Levenstein, Abraham Luria, Evelyn Magaziner, Isidore Markowitz, David Middleman, Eva H. Morris, Joseph Moss, Carol Ann Nordheimer, Helen J. Oceani, Israel Phillips, Bella Polikoff, Enid F. Raab, Karen Weiss Reynolds, Thelma Jacobs Rosenblum, Joseph Roscom, James Sanick, Daniel Sclavola, Alfred Schwartz, Kiwa Schwartz, Stephen Sirota, Ruth Scherer, Louis Shore, Marion H. Silverman, Howard Melvin Simons, Goldie Solomon, Irvin Stein, Arthur Stiffel, Teresa Weinberg, Rabbi David H. Weiss, Valentine L. Wilson, Clark Wind, Cliffy Wolf, Albert Wolf, Rebecca Beatrice Yamron, Bella Grossman Yarrow, Sidney Zaretsky, Norbert Zeelander. We add the names of those who have been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days, for whom we observe Shloshim. Alvin Block, Naomi Bremen, Phyllis Claire Rogers Friedenberg, Bruce Goodman, Doris Ann Motez, Frederick Meisel, Mickey Simon. And if you are observing yahrzeit or shloshim for a loved one whose name was not called, please feel free to add it to the comments or call it aloud now. Turning to page 294, we honor their memories as we rise for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divarach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala u'b'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam Olmei Maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei Zekudesha Berechu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata Tzamiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav huya aseh shalom aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring comfort to the bereaved and peace to each of you. And together we say, Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Once again, we wish you a Shabbat Shalom. And if you are new to the congregation, we hope that you will be sure to introduce yourself to our membership team who's waving in the back. I see Stephen Scher and Nave Barlow. Nave is a little new, so if you haven't met them yet, take this opportunity, even if you aren't new. O source of light and truth, lead us to take the words we have spoken into our hearts and into our lives. Bless all who have entered this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav eilecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav eilecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav eilecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav eilecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav eilecha v'chuneka.
May the light of God's Spirit shine upon us and through us.
Yisa Adonai panav eilecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's presence be with us and bring us peace. Kei nihi ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.